Hey guys, welcome back to Drake Breaks, and in today's video, we're doing something a little bit different. I'm actually going to be giving my playoff predictions for the NASCAR Cup Series. Playoffs start this weekend at Atlanta, and so I just wanted to give my predictions what I think will happen. These undoubtedly will be wrong in some way, but let's have fun with it. I'm going to do this by just basically moving drivers that I think are going to advance to the round above, and then drivers that won't to the round below. So the drivers I think are going to be eliminated in the round of 16, I'll move to here. Everybody else will move up to the round of 12. So Larson, I think, unless he just has absolute disaster, he's through. And that same thing can apply to Elliott, Hamlin, Blaney, Bell, Reddick, and Byron. I think all those, unless it's just absolute disaster, they should advance. They ran well enough all year. Now we start getting into what I think are the easier eliminations. I think Harrison Burton, he shouldn't have been in the playoffs. Great, he won at Daytona, got Wood Brothers their 100th win, but he shouldn't have been in there. Unless he just miraculously wins at Atlanta, he's not. He's not gonna make it. Cindric, kind of the same thing, I think. Now Cindric is a good road course racer, but I just haven't seen it from that team the whole year. Now he could surprise and advance if somebody else has like a massive meltdown, but I just don't see it. Uh, Now the next one is Suarez, kind of with the other three. I just don't see it. Suarez did win in Atlanta earlier this year. That's the only way he advances, I think. He's shown some speed at road courses, winning at Sonoma, but I just don't see it. Trackhouse itself has been very disappointing this year, so I don't see it. Now I'm going to move Keselowski up ahead. He has struggled at road courses in the next gen, but I think he can run just well enough to advance at Watkins Glen, and he can run well enough at Bristol. If he could pick up stage points at Atlanta, that would be a big plus for him, I think. And then my next pick, which might be surprising, is I think Chase Briscoe will make the round of 12. He might be surprising because he technically wasn't top 16 in points, but he ran well enough this year that I think that he could sneak in, and I think he'll be the surprising advancement from this. And now we have these four, which I think are the ones that are most susceptible to being eliminated just based on form. With Truex, they just haven't ran well recently, and Truex has made some mistakes. Logano, he was 14th in like the regular season points. It has been terrible season for Logano. And it would have been a real question if he would have even made the playoffs had he not won at Nashville. And he didn't even have that great of a car at Nashville. Just chaos unfolded, and he happened to make it and somehow saved enough fuel. Bowman ran better in the regular season, but he kind of, with Logano, I would say that Chicago Street Course kind of fell into his lap. He was running well, but it did fall into his lap. Gibbs has been up and down. He started off great and then faltered. Then he had some good finishes and faltered again. So it's hard to tell. But I think the surprising elimination in round one is Martin Truex Jr. I hate to do it because it's his retirement season, but they just seem off. That whole team just seems a little off right now. And I just think he gets eliminated. I would like to see him advance farther, but I just don't see it at the moment. So anyway, that's the four I think get eliminated. I think Truex just a big surprise. I know he can run well at Bristol and he can run Watkins Glen, but I just think there's something off with that team. And if he gets wrecked at Atlanta, it is, I think, done for. He has to win one of the two, and I don't think he can. That team can at the moment. Going into the round of 12, the round of 12 I think is a little bit easier to predict with Kansas being there, but I mean, the way that the playoffs is this year, which I do not like it, but yet got Talladega and then the Roval on there. The most normal round is the round of 8, but once again, Larson I think is going to run well enough that it won't matter. Same thing with Elliott, Hamlin, Blaney, Bell, Reddick. I think they've been consistent enough that they should get through just fine. All of these guys are capable road course racers. All of them are capable at super speedways. If they just avoid trouble, I think they're fine. Byron is difficult. He was so hot to start off the year and has massively cooled off, and they've been very inconsistent. He can run well at super speedways, and he's a good road course racer. It's just, can that team keep it together? They just seem to, I don't know, they seem to just fall off or have bad incidents, mistakes, the wrong times. I still think he does advance from here. So that leaves us with one spot left going into the next round. And I think this is a big surprise. I think Chase Briscoe sneaks into the round of 8. This might be surprising, but I think the circumstances will just unfold perfectly that he'll advance. This may look really bad later and he may be first turn exit, but I think that could be the dark horse pick. And I think a lot of people may think that. I think that as Stewart Haas Racing has found some speed before they close down, I think Briscoe could win at the Charlotte Oval. He does have a win there in the Xfinity Series, and I think if circumstances allowed, he could actually win in the Cup Series there too. The same thing goes at Talladega as well. So that leaves Keselowski, Logano, Bowman, Gibbs out. Now Keselowski could easily run well enough to make it. It's just with Talladega and a road course ending off the round, unless he has a stellar Kansas, I don't think he's going to advance. Same thing with Logano, is that super speedway is going to be the most important for him to perform well at. If he gets wrecked, I think it's over. Just hasn't been good this season at all. But Penske is known to just be mediocre, and then they go to the playoffs and steal the last 2 championships. So, you know. Bowman, kind of like Logano, like the last round. This one just doesn't suit him. And Gibbs, great, he made the playoffs, but he just hasn't been consistent enough. So now we move on to the getting to the championship 4. And first one is going to be Larson. Larson should run well at all 3 tracks in the round of 8. I think that the round of 8 is the most normal round and the most rewarding for the teams that are actually good. Like, I think your team actually has to be good. There's no crazy chaos that might unfold. That is all way lower chance for these rounds. So at least NASCAR put in a good round of 8. Hopefully filter out anybody that just, happened to miraculously stumble into the round of 8. So that way we get a good championship 4. Next one I think goes in is Reddick. These two have been the best 2 in the Cup Series this year. I don't think there's really any argument with that. If Larson wouldn't crash so often, he would have easily won the regular season championship even with missing the 600. But he didn't. He missed 600. He crashed so much this season that Reddick got it. So I think those 2 are the clear-cut championship 4 favorites. Unless they have absolute disaster, I think they make it. So that leaves with my third option. I think Christopher Bell makes it. I think that he will run really well at Homestead. I think he'll run well at Las Vegas, and I think he'll run well at Martinsville. I don't know if he'll win any of those races, but I think he'll run super well to make it. The fourth one. This is difficult because I see a route. Unfortunately for Chase Briscoe, this is the end of the line for him. I don't see any way that he advances from here. But these next 4 all could easily advance to championship 4. All of them are more than capable at winning at any of the tracks in this round. And Byron won at Martinsville earlier this year. Anyway, Hamlin, been great at Martinsville. Blaney, been great at Martinsville. Elliott won at Martinsville before. So, this is, any of them could easily win Martinsville. all four are going to probably run well at Las Vegas and Homestead Miami Speedway. Go ahead and go to eliminating them by how they hear. Elliott, I just don't think that there's enough winning speed in that team. The team seems to always have okay cars. They're never great. They're never usually awful, but they're usually just okay. And I think that's been the whole problem with this year with the 9 team is they've been okay. They've been very consistent, staying at a treble, capitalizing on stuff, but the cars just have not been fast. And when they've given Chase a good car, he has shown that he can make it work. Problem is that that team just has not consistently given him a car that I feel like has been fast enough. They've complained that he said the car's just kind of slow. It just doesn't feel right. And they have to work on it throughout the whole entire race, so they're constantly playing catch up. That's just not going to cut it in the round of 8. And as an Elliott fan, it pains me, but I think this is it. I don't think there's enough speed there. Blaney won a championship last year. Was he most deserved champion? No. No, he wasn't. But he ran well. He's run well this year. I just don't think he makes it. I think Penske as a whole is down on speed this year. His 2 teammates, had they not won, probably wouldn't even be in the playoffs. He's been the only shining light for Penske this year. I just don't know, even if he's the only car that Penske's focusing on, if it's going to be enough to overcome this. So that leaves it down to Byron and Hamlin, and I think Hamlin goes to championship for him. I think Byron's been too inconsistent. The Hendrick stable as a whole has been all over the place with teams and cars. The only team that seems to consistently bring good cars is the 5 team, and they have Kyle Larson as their driver. So, they can even have an okay car, and Larson will make it look great. The 5 team is also, I think, the best team at Hendricks from top to bottom, engineers, crew chief, that wise. They maybe don't have the best pit crew at Hendrick, but they still great. Uh, Byron just, I don't think, has that. I think he could easily win and make the championship for, but I just think that they've just shown that they can't be consistent enough to make it. So that leaves Hamlin in. I think Hamlin's just been, if he can just stay out of trouble, he should be consistent enough to at least make it, and he will probably, he might be the one that wins one of these races, or he might just miss out and point his way in. So now we have these 4 at Phoenix. So starting with Larson, the Hendrick cars don't run well at Gateway, struggled at New Hampshire, not as bad as the years past, but those are kind of the closest tracks to Phoenix. It's hard to say. Hendrick has really struggled at tracks kind of like Phoenix, very flat, smaller like tracks. They've not been very good. So regardless of how good Larson is, it is a question, can Hendrick bring him a car good enough to win? I don't know. That that's a good question, is can they bring a car good enough for Larson to win with? I think if he has a good car, I think Larson guaranteed champion if he has a good enough car. Now move on to Reddick, who I think is capable of winning as well. Once again, it's hard to know. 2311 has really picked it up, and is that momentum going to carry all throughout the playoffs, all throughout the round 16, 12, 8 into the championship 4? We'll see. Christopher Bell won at Phoenix earlier this year, so he has that going for him. Gibbs has been really good at Phoenix the last few years, so I think that it is very promising that Bell easily could be the champion. Is he the most deserving champion? Probably not, but he has been good this year. Been very good. All 4 of these guys have been very good. Hamlin, would this be the year that he finally wins the championship? It's a good question. It could easily happen. I think he runs well at Phoenix to make it happen, but I think my pick for the championship is going to be, I think Tyler Reddick will win the championship. I think that what they have shown and what Reddick has shown this second half of the year shows that I think he is ready to put it together a championship run. I think that the other three are going to give a great fight, but I think Reddick is going to win at Phoenix to win the championship. I think 2311, with him being the only car, that they are going to put all the resources into that car, and that team has been showing that they are capable of winning. As I do have a little bit of doubts about some of these other teams. Larson, he's the best driver in the Cup Series on pure skill wise, but he sometimes gets himself into trouble overdoing it. And Hendrick has struggled at those small flat tracks. Bell can kind of fall into the same category as Larson. He can be very, very fast. He can also get himself into trouble. And there's a little bit more inconsistency there with that team. Hamlin kind of falls into the same place as Bell, as in they sometimes find themselves in trouble. And this is all more recently, because Reddick did it earlier this year, especially at Darlington, everybody knows, with Chris Buescher. But Hamlin's been really good, but that speed's just been slightly down from what it has been. And I think that I just don't see it this year for him to win a championship. It would be another year where he makes championship 4 and just doesn't follow through. And I think he'll actually finish 4th out of the championship 4. I think this will actually be the order if you go by Reddick, Bell, Larson, Hamlin. I think that'll actually be the way that they finish. This could all obviously be wrong, but this is my prediction for the playoffs. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? I would like to hear other people's takes. I know there's going to be some surprises just because the way it's formatted. Somebody could easily sneak into the round of 8 that I have going in round of 16. So I'm curious to see what you guys think. I hope you guys enjoyed this different style video. If you want to see more videos that aren't just card openings and stuff like that, let me know in the comments down below and see what it is. Maybe tier lists, quizzes, anything like that. So, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you next video.